Welcome to my channel. In today's video, we are going to test out a model from Meta AI called SeamlessM4T model. SeamlessM4T model is a multitask, multilingual, and multimodal. This model can take both speech and text as input, and it can also output speech and text, and it can do many tasks. So it can do speech to speech translation, speech to text, text to speech, text to text, and finally the automatic speech recognition as well. And it supports over 101 languages. If you want to know the details of the model, those are in this paper called SeamlessM4T. In my future videos, I will actually go into the details of the model, so we'll read this paper in detail. But for now, in this video, I want to focus on just installing this on my machine and testing it out. So that's the scope of this video. Before we actually proceed into installing this, I just want to point out that if you're just interested to know if any specific language is supported by this model, you can check the paper, but then you can also come here. Here, this is one of the README files, and here they have a table that tells you all the supported languages, their code, and also whether this model supports both speech and text, or just speech or just text for that particular language. In my case, I am interested in language called Punjabi. Punjabi is one of the languages spoken in North India. So let's see if I can spell it correctly. So let's see if that language is supported. Sounds like it is. And you can see that in the source column, this is the source column, it says it supports both speech and text for Punjabi, but in the target column, it says it only supports text in Punjabi. What that means is this model cannot yet do translation from a different language to, it cannot do speech to speech translation specifically from a different language to Punjabi. So, but it can do text to text from Punjabi to other language or other language to Punjabi, but it cannot do speech to speech translation from a different language to Punjabi. So that's what this model can't do. Okay, so we have a little bit of a background of what this model is and what are the highlights of this model. Now we'll just focus on installing this model on our machine. In my case, it's Ubuntu, and we'll just test it out quickly. First of all, this seamless communication, as we can see, it is dependent on few things. One of the important things is that it needs to have this FearSeek tool library. In one of my previous video, I actually went through the steps of installing this FearSeek tool library. So for me, that was done. If you haven't done that, so please go ahead and install FearSeek tool library first, and then come here and install the seamless communication. Okay, so let's just go inside. Now, if you remember, when we installed the FearSeek tool library, we created a Conda environment, and that Conda environment was called Seamless, and then we also created a folder called Seamless, and then inside this is where I installed the FearSeek tool library. So I'm going to use the same Conda environment and same setup, and I'm just going to install this SeamlessM4T as well. So first thing, what we're going to do is we are just going to clone this. So we'll just go ahead and clone this repo. We'll see that in the folder that we clone this in Seamless, we see this folder called Seamless Communication. Now let's just go inside this folder. And then from here we will install, we'll just use the instructions here. We'll do this and run it. It might take some time, so we'll just come back to this when everything is installed, hopefully successfully. One thing I do want to point out is this, something I noticed. So if we go to the requirements.txt, we will see that these are the things that these are the library that it lists that will be installed. In my case, because I had already installed this FairSeek2 separately, so I just need to install these. So if you want to try, you can try without installing the FairSeek2 first and then installing this SeamlessM4T. I have not tried that way, so I don't know if you can just go ahead and simply install M4T, because this is listed as one of the requirements here already. So you can try that, but in my case I separately installed FairSeek2 first, and now I'm installing this Seamless M4T model. Okay, perfect. So in our case, everything is looking good. So we installed everything. Now we will test out the model to make sure the installation was successful. So for that, if I go back to the README file, I'm just going to run the inference to quickly test if my model works. So we'll just copy this, and in my case, I will just see if speech-to-speech translation task works. So I'll just copy this, and then I will, let's clean this up a little, and then I'll test it. Okay, so as you can see, we just use a command line called M4T predict, and then we want to give it the path to the input audio, because we are going from speech to speech translation, so we need to have an input audio in the source language, and then we will specify what I want to translate it to. So we will give it the language tag for the target language. Then we will also specify the path to save the audio file. So let's go ahead and do that. In my case, I have a audio, I have both MP3 and .wav versions. So I'm just going to use MP3 for now, and I will give that as input. Okay, and it is called in my case, the source audio, the one that I have here, is in a language Punjabi, and then I want to translate this Punjabi audio to English audio. So I'm going to specify here the tag for the English language, and if you want to know what is the code for the English language, we can just once again come back to our table and we can search for English, and you can see the code for English is ENG, so we'll specify that here. Okay, and then for the output path, we will specify where we want to store this. So let's say let's give it the same path that I have here. I'm just going to store it in the same location, and I will call my file output. I don't know actually if I need to give it the name, but let's just, or maybe let's just not give it any name, because yeah. So we'll just specify the output path. So now let's just go ahead and try. So this is something I'm trying for the first time, so we might fail, and that's okay. Let's just give it a try. Interesting. So the error that I'm getting is that it says I don't have libsnd file, but I remember this is something that I had installed before when I installed the Peerseek 2. So let's just go ahead and take this suggestion and install it this way. Okay. Okay, let's clear the screen and try one more time to do the translation. Okay. Okay, that's a big model. As you can see, it might take a while. So 10.7 gigabytes. So it might take a while. I'll just fast forward the video until this is downloading. And then we'll come back to this when it's fully downloaded. Okay, looks like the model is downloaded, and it also downloaded a tokenizer and a checkpoint. But we have some example. We have some issue here. What's the issue? It says the input audio cannot be decoded. Okay, not sure what the issue is, but let's try to give it the WAV file. Actually, I'm not sure if you noticed. I'm actually on a different machine now, so I tried installing and everything on my local machine, and I wasn't able to successfully do that because I was running out of memory and compute. So I'm on a different machine. I had to redo everything, installing Peerseek and installing M4T and downloading this model. So now I'm on a GPU cluster. So just a fair warning that this, in order to do this project, I think you would actually need a GPU, good memory for it to work. Okay, let's try to resolve this. So what I did was I changed the file, the audio input file that I'm giving it, from MP3 to WAV. So I have both copies. So I have this audio file in MP3 and I have this audio file in WAV. So let's try with that and see if it works. Seems like it's working. Okay, we got another. Okay, so we got another error here. Let's see what it is. Illegal memory access. Okay, I think I know what this error, why I get this error, because I've had this error before. So in my case, the GPU cluster that I am using, it actually it has 4 GPUs in it, and I know that not all 4 GPUs are functioning, so I just have to specify a particular GPU that I have to use, that I want to use. that I know are working. So what I'll do is I'm just going to specify the GPU that I want to use in order to do the inference. Okay, so for that, let me just specify the GPU that I want to use. So I'll just say, so I'll use the same command, but I will specify the type, which GPU I want to use. So I can do that by just using this CUDA visible devices, and then I'll say I want to use, in this case I know GPU 1, 2 and 3 are functional, and I know GPU 0 is not functional in my case, so that's why I'm just specifying the GPU. And then let's try now. Okay, so we still have error. What is this error? So predict, I think the error looks like we may need to specify the name of the output file. So let's just try to give it the name OUT or test OUT. How about we also give it the, I don't know, I'm just trying out anything that might work, because typically I don't think I would specify the extension, but let's see. Perfect. Okay, it worked. So let me just recap what we just did. So let's just clear this out. So as you can see, it says it has saved the translated audio in English and translated text in English. It says, you know what I mean. Actually, that's not accurate, but that's okay. At this point I was not really interested in checking the accuracy of the model. I was more interested in actually just being able to run it. Okay, let's go back and try to run it. Try to understand the steps clearly, what we need to run this. So what we need in order once we have downloaded the model and everything, then in order to run the inference using this M4T predict, we have to be in the root directory, which is seamless_communication. Then here, this is just in my specific case, I had to specify which GPU. In your case, you may not have to need to do this. And then for this M4 predict command line, and then I specify where my input file is located. And the input file, the format of that has to be WAV, because I did try with MP3, it didn't work. So the format of the file, audio file, has to be WAV, the extension of that, I mean. Then in my case, I'm doing speech-to-speech translation. So I specify the task, and then I specify the target language, the tag for the target language. So that's English in my case. And then I also specify the output path, which is the path where I want to store the output. So I specify the path. The important thing which I didn't know was we also have to specify the output file. So in this case, I am calling it test_out, and I also have to specify the extension. So this is it. This is what I was missing before. So that's it. And then after we run this, we just saw that it saved the translated audio in English in the in the path that I told it to, and then also it gave me the text for that translated audio. So that's pretty much it. So now that we have the model working, that means our installation was correct, which is great news. Now what we can do next is lots of things actually. Let's go back here and let's do SeamlessM4T. We can do lots and lots of different things. So what we just did was we were just running the inference on this speech-to-speech translation task. Then we can also do other things, such as we can evaluate the models, and then we can fine-tune this model. We can also convert the raw audio to discrete units. So we can do all of these different things. One thing that I want to point out is that if you are just interested in doing the inference, you may be interested in checking out the Hugging Face. So if you go to the Hugging Face, then you can just follow the instructions there and use the model in the Hugging Face. That might be actually easier. Then you don't have to go through all of these installations that we just did. It may be more straightforward that way, but it's up to you. But if you want to do more involved things such as evaluating, fine-tuning, then you may want to install just like we did the installation here. And then they also say that as you saw, the model that we just downloaded was really big. It was about 10 gigabytes. But then if you want to use a lighter weight model, they said it's available as well. So there's lots of interesting things we can do with this model. So I am really interested in exploring more. So in this video, we are just going to stop here, and in the upcoming videos, we will explore different capabilities of this model. Mainly, I will focus on either just inference or evaluating this model. So stay tuned. Until then, bye and good luck with your projects. Thank you.